Most solopreneurs piecing together AI tools are doing it wrong, not because they're using bad tools, but because they're using good tools in isolation. They grab ChatGPT for writing, they grab some coding tool when they want to build something, they maybe use a note app, but none of it talks to each other, none of it compounds, and every week they're starting from scratch, wondering why they're not making more progress. I've spent the last several months building a stack that actually works as a system, where each tool feeds the next, where AI has real context about my business, and where I can ship things, content, apps, automations, without a team. In this video, I'm going to break down the stack for you. 8 tools, 1 system, let's get into it. Now, before I name the tools, I want to frame how I think about this because the list alone won't help you. Most people build a tool stack the wrong way. They find a cool tool, they add it, they find another cool tool, they add it, and after 6 months, they've got 12 subscriptions and nothing that works together. The way that I think about it is in 3 layers. Layer 1 is your brain layer, where your thinking lives, where your notes live, and where AI can learn your business. Layer 2 is your build layer, where you create things like apps, content, and automations. Layer 3 is your distribution layer, where you publish, where you grow, and where you get seen. Every tool I'm about to show you fits into one of these 3 layers. And the reason this works as a system is that the output of one layer becomes the input of the next. All right, let's go tool by tool. All right, so here we're going to start with the brain layer, and we're going to start with Obsidian. Obsidian is where my thinking lives. It's a note-taking app, but that undersells it. What it actually is a local folder of plain text files that lives on your computer. No cloud lock-in, no company holding you hostage. If Obsidian disappeared tomorrow, I'd still have every note that I've ever written. So why does that matter for AI? Because the biggest mistake solopreneurs make and existing business owners make is feeding AI generic prompts and expecting specific answers. AI doesn't know your business. It knows the internet. And those are 2 very different things. Obsidian is where I externalize my brain. It's where client patterns, project decisions, ideas, daily notes, where all of it go. And once it's in there, I can point AI directly at it, which brings me to my next tool. So now we're going to talk about Claude Cowork within the brain layer. Claude Cowork is the Anthropic desktop app running in Cowork mode. And the thing that makes it special is this. You can point it at a folder on your computer, like your Obsidian vault, and it can read everything in it. As you can see here, I have it pointed to the Ideaverse Pro 02.5 folder. So instead of starting every conversation from 0, Claude has full context. It knows what I've been working on, it knows what patterns keep showing up in my notes, it knows what I decided last week and why. I use this strategy for thinking through decisions, for running skills I've built into my vault, things like my daily brief that pulls in my calendar and email, or a content brainstorming session based off of what I've been forming in my notes over the last 30 days. This is the combo that most people are sleeping on. Obsidian plus Claude Cowork is not just a note app plus a chatbot. It's a decision-making system with a memory. Now we're moving on to the build layer. And the first tool that we're going to talk about here is ChatGPT Codex. Codex is my go-to for vibe coding. If you haven't used it, it's ChatGPT's desktop coding tool. You can give it a prompt, it writes code, runs it locally, and you can watch your app get built in real time. What I love about Codex specifically is that you can run multiple agents at the same time. So while one agent is building out your database schema, another one is doing research, and a third one is figuring out your next feature. It removes the bottleneck of waiting. You can also queue prompts so that your agent within a particular chat will start working on the next task as soon as it's done with the current one, all without you needing to manually intervene. I am building my personal finance app in Codex. UI, database connections, live price data from an API, all from natural language prompts. No prior coding experience required. Next, let's talk about Claude Code. Claude Code is Anthropic's command line coding tool, and it's the one I reach for when things get more complex. Where Codex is great for fast, visual, beginner-friendly builds, Claude Code is better for larger code bases, more nuanced changes, and longer autonomous runs. The way I use them is complementary. Codex to get something off the ground fast, Claude Code when I need to go deeper, such as doing refactoring, debugging, wiring up integrations, anything that requires a little bit more precision. Together, they cover almost every coding scenario that I run into. So I just wanted to point something out here in the desktop app. So I'm using the desktop app once again, and in the left-hand corner, I have code selected instead of Cowork. Now let's talk about Supabase. Every app that you build needs a database. Supabase is the one I use. It's open source, it has a generous free tier, and it's dead simple to set up, especially when you're vibe coding, because all you have to do is just tell Codex or Claude Code, set up a Supabase database and connect it, and it'll walk you through the whole thing. Supabase gives you a Postgres database, authentication, and an API all out of the box. For most apps, a solopreneur or existing business owner, the apps that they're building, that's everything that you need on the back end. The last app that we're going to talk about within this layer is Vercel. Once you've built something, you need to put it on the internet. Vercel is how I deploy. It connects directly to your GitHub repo, and every time you push code, it automatically deploys. The free tier is solid for both personal projects and for MVPs, which stands for minimum viable products. The reason Vercel and Supabase work so well together is that they're both built for the modern web stack. Vercel handles your front end and your serverless functions. Supabase handles your data. And all you need to do is point your Vercel app at your Supabase instance, and you've got a full stack app running in the cloud for basically nothing. Let's now move on to the distribution layer. And the first tool that I'm going to talk about here is Tela. Tela is how I record my YouTube videos. It's a screen recorder with a floating camera window so that you can show your screen and your face at the same time cleanly without a complex studio setup. What I like about it is that the output looks professional without requiring professional gear. The face in a box format, screen share on one side, your face in a separate window, is the aesthetic I was going for. And Tela makes it easy to set that up without touching real video editing software. For solopreneurs and business owners who want to build a YouTube presence without turning it into a production, Tela removes a lot of friction. All right, lastly, in the distribution layer, let's talk about ChatGPT 5.5. ChatGPT 5.5 is the general purpose reasoning layer that I use for everything that doesn't fit neatly into a specialized tool. So drafting, thinking through problems, research, and brainstorming mostly. The reason why I put it in the distribution layer specifically is for content. So I use it typically for writing tweet drafts, refining scripts, generating thumbnail text options, writing video descriptions. The 5.5 model is noticeably better at following nuanced instructions and holding long context across a long conversation, which matters when you're trying to write in your own voice rather than producing a generic AI output. It's also where I go where I want a second opinion on a decision before I commit to it. So I'm doing less write this for me and more think this through me with ChatGPT 5.5. Here's how these layers actually connect day to day. My thinking goes into Obsidian. Claude Cowork reads that thinking, helps me make decisions, generate content ideas, and runs workflows that I've built. When I'm ready to build something, Codex and Claude Code do the heavy lifting. Supabase stores the data, Vercel puts it on the internet. When I'm ready to distribute and create content, put it out there, Tela captures it, ChatGPT 5.5 helps with the writing. Nothing in the stack is redundant. Each tool has a lane, and because they're all pointed at the same goal, building a one-person business that compounds without a team, they reinforce each other instead of creating noise. So that's the full stack. 8 tools, 3 layers, 1 system. If this was useful, the best thing you could do right now is hit subscribe. I'm building this channel around exactly this kind of content. Real workflows, real tools, no fluff. So drop a comment and let me know which tool you're most interested in seeing a deeper dive on. I read every comment and it directly shapes what I make next. If you got value from this video, a like goes a long way. It tells the algorithm this is worth showing to more people, which means I can keep making more content like this. I'll see you in the next one.